Hypnotism is big entertainment, earning big money for big performers, but it also brings big problems. Hi, I'm Uri Geller. You're probably used to seeing me bend spoons, keys, forks, fix broken watches, stop clocks with the power of my mind. Hypnotism is also using your mind, but in a different way. In this program, I will be introducing you to hypnotherapists like this.
Good. Good. That's good.
And hypnotists like this.
Stiffer, Richie. Stiffer. Stiffer still. Stiffer still. Really stiffer, Richie.
Dr. Khawaja spent years perfecting his skills. At just 18, Alex Leroy already feels competent to pass his own.
I mean, I've already taught since about January of this year, about 12, 13 people how to be stage hypnotists. And of them, there are at least 6 that I know of that are actually now working, earning money and doing quite well.
Alex's stage show has already branded him as the country's most outrageous hypnotist.
Just because something's outrageous doesn't mean it's rude or obscene. That's what the impression people have got. Oh, it's an outrageous show, it's obscene, it's rude. If they came along, they'd see that 95% of it, anyone could watch. But it's perhaps just on that borderline of taste. Every hypnotist on earth has, I would imagine, had circumstances at some point or another where there's been someone who's not happy. It generally takes the form of maybe a husband or a wife who's a little bit irate at what you've got their wife or husband to do. I did a routine where I made the woman believe she'd fallen in love with me, as many hypnotists do. And when she proceeded to move her head down my body, I said sleep, which intimated to the audience that she was going to attempt to do something of a more sexual nature, which obviously wouldn't have took place. And merely because it was a major over-the-top show for people who'd seen my normal public shows, so they needed something that bit more, I said that when you awake in a few moments, you will imagine, and that's the key word, imagine. I didn't say she'd believe it had took place. I didn't say she would experience it. The word imagine means she would almost act it out, but without the emotional or physical element coming into play. So it's not as extreme as it sounds. I said, you will imagine that I've just raped you.
That stunt brought outrage and national publicity. Perhaps that is what Alex intended. Perhaps it wasn't. Banned in many cities, his shows have also earned him the wrath of his fellow hypnotists.
I think
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We are here, episode 65, my friends. What in the world? I'm about to bring to you the person you just saw on that video. But before I do so, please allow me to introduce myself. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I hope that you're doing well, and I hope that wherever you are is doing good for you. My friends, it is me, Paul Carpenter. This is On the Road, in the Waves, and on the other side with me. And today, I bring to you not only a friend, not only a colleague, not only a giant in the field of hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming. This guy's been doing it since he was like 15, 14 years old. He's like, him and me have like almost the same exact story. It's crazy. My friends, I bring to you onto the stage today, my friend, Jonathan Royle. Hello, my friend. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Paul. How are you?
Amazing, man. I'm so happy to have you on, man.
I look
what an
different
amazing...
now. The long ginger hair is gone, and I've
I'm wearing
aged
the
30 years since that video.
Yeah, I know, man. We haven't like spoken in quite some time, but you're still kicking ass, and taking initials and going because you don't have time for the names. I mean, you are a powerhouse and you haven't stopped, which is beautiful. And I think that that's a testament to hypnosis in your life in general. I could be wrong, but I think that that's one of the things that I test my life to, and my ability to keep moving and keep going.
It's certainly a contributory element. I think it's the fact that I wouldn't be very good at doing anything else. Well, other than magic, I'd still end up doing something that was performing because of the weird upbringing and life I've had. You know, I mean, I was born on the circus. So, 13th of August, 1975. I was born on the circus. My parents were traveling with it. My dad was and is a circus clown, Tizzy the Clown, and also did a yogi fakir. I said fakir, Fakir, didn't swear. Fakir act, bed of nails, ladder of daggers, fire eating, and all that kind of stuff. And my
So
mum did,
what they call here in the United States, like geek magic.
Yeah. And my mum did a sharpshooting, whip cracking, Wild West type act. So I was born on Gandhi's Circus in England, and at the age of 3 and a bit, towards the end of 1978, to put it in perspective, I made my performance debut on Gandhi's Circus alongside my dad as Flap the Clown. And if people want to see embarrassing photographs of me in the big, stupid grey wig, red nose and all that, they can go on my website, magicalguru.co.uk, or if they go to ultimatehypnosiscourse.com, the link that's on screen, somewhere on that page, it'll say, see Royle's career resume here. And if you click on that link, they'll see the embarrassing pictures of me when I was young. Yes, even more embarrassing than the video footage from 30 years ago that we started with. So that's how it all began. And briefly, because you mentioned hypnosis being involved, well, yeah, it was, because although I didn't necessarily call it hypnosis to start with, because when I was about 6.5, thereabouts, my mum didn't come from a show business background, okay? She met my dad when she was a holiday camp, as they call it in England. That's me in the circus ring of Gandhi Circus. I'm the little child in the middle with the grey wig. Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good.
So, and that's me. That's in my team. I'm about 12 in that when I started using the name Alex Leroy, and I was doing an illusion act. That's a sword box that I'd put the girl in and put like a dozen swords through, and then split it in half and stuff.
Is this a zigzag illusion?
No, this was originally what was called the homicide illusion. It's kind of like sawing a lady in half, put it in, cut it in half, couple of blades in, split the box in half, and then a pull through both halves. But we got it and adapted it and added the ability to also put 12 swords through the box as well. Because I used to do a full-scale illusion act from about the age of 12.
Very cool.
Show business I've been involved in one way or another all my life. Good sides to that, bad sides to that as well. You scroll, it'll take ages to load that. The people are better off looking at your face, mine. They can look in their own time. Magicalguru.co.uk. But there was plus sides to performing from an early age. Big downsides as well, because my mum wasn't from a show business background. She didn't want me growing up on the circus forever. She wanted me to have a so-called normal upbringing, go to a normal school, not necessarily get a normal job, but have the ability to fall back on one if need be, because show business is notoriously not secure. Although, ironically, if you're born on the circus and stay there, you've got a job for life. So it's a bit arse over tit. Why pull me away from it? But anyway, she pulled me away from the circus around the age of 6.5 on the basis that we got a house. And my dad carried on touring with the circus, and I just went with the circus at weekends, school holidays, or when they were close by, I'd go in the evenings if they were near enough. So I was still performing, but during the day, go to a normal school. And that's where the shit started. Because I went into normal school where people knew normal things, and I was seen as the circus clown's son who came from the circus. So some people,
right, for sure.
I became a target because some people saw that as, well, traveling with the circus, he's a traveler or a gypsy, which is not quite the same, although ironically I do have Romany gypsy heritage, and I'm related to the king of the British gypsies, Walter Smith. People can Google that. But I got bullied, I got attacked, especially when the Daily Mirror, a British national newspaper, and again, people will be able to see all this on magicalguru.co.uk, the press cuttings, the photographs, it's all there. Look in your own time. Came into the school and took pictures of me and did this article, Alex the Circus Six Hit. Which was
the what?
The Circus Six, SIX hit, because I was 6 years old, well, 6 and a bit. And the thing is, when that appeared, well, they came into the school, so I had to be dressed up as the clown with a silly grey wig, red nose, blah, blah, blah. The kids were fine about it at that school, but the teachers, when I appeared in the press, suddenly displayed their, now look back on it and realised, jealousy or fear of the unknown, because I was getting this attention, and they became aware that when I was performing on a pro rata basis, I was earning more money per hour than they were. And I literally started to become a victim of persecution and bullying and bad psychological treatment by those teachers. And so bad it got that I begged my mum to move me to another school, but there wasn't another school in that little village. And my mum didn't have a vehicle at the time, so we couldn't have gone elsewhere. So I went through that living hell of the teachers giving me grief for the best part of 12 months. 12 to 18 months before my mum was able to find us somewhere else to live 5-6 miles away, and we got another house there. Continued performing in the school holidays, weekends, evenings where possible, and I went to a new school there. So the nightmare of the teachers giving me grief ended. Fantastic, bloody brilliant. Unfortunately, I can't, well, not unfortunately, everything's a double-edged sword, and it's about what perceptual position you look at it from. But at the time, unfortunately, it was out of the frying pan and into the fire, because the teachers were great and they encouraged me. But when I appeared in the national press and on national TV as Britain's youngest paid circus clown, video clips at magicalguru.co.uk if you want to have a laugh. Sometimes for the right reason, sometimes for the wrong. I started to get picked on and bullied by the kids because I was the odd one out. I was the clown's son. I was the circus clown. And also, to make matters worse, I had ginger hair, which was even more bright orange than you saw in that 30-year-ago video at the beginning. It was ridiculous. So I was getting all the usual rusty notes, ginger notes. Oh, which sounds ridiculous saying it now, but because the old saying is sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. But that's bullshit. When you get the same thing chipping away, it's like Chinese water torture, especially when you're young, and it does have a negative impact.
Sure, of course.
And ultimately, a long story cut short, after enduring years of that, before I moved to what I think in America they'd refer to as high school, we call it secondary school. So about the age of about 11, 12, you move up to bigger school. This got so bad, and it was having such an effect on my self-confidence, my self-image, my self-esteem, my sense of self, my self-identity, that the only time I kind of felt loved, appreciated, worthwhile was when I was on stage and an audience would clap at the right times or laugh, but in the context of it being a positive thing rather than taking the piss.
I went through the same thing.
well, you know, it has a lot more in saying it verbally. A lot of people might think, oh, what you're bothered about words, they just hurt a bit, but you brush. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. And before it got the time to go into high school, it was what they were calling in America fall time. We call it winter. So where it gets darker quicker because it's that time of year.
Sure. Fall time. Sure. Christmas vacation.
Yeah. I went to the busiest main road in Haywood where we lived. Ironically, the main road where the school was, Queen's Park Road, and it was dark. And I lay down in the middle of the road with the intention that, well, it'll all be over and done with really quickly. Boom, done. And after what seemed like forever, but probably wasn't very long at all. But I genuinely don't know because I wasn't tired. It felt like forever. But you know, you can meet somebody you've not seen for years. Go, hey, not seen you for years. Let's go for a coffee. And you go for a coffee and you're chatting and you're so in the moment that you suddenly look at your watch and 2 hours has gone by, but it feels like 5 minutes. And conversely, there can be times in your life like you go for a job interview and you sat in the waiting room and you go in and you're so nervous and on edge that you feel like you've been under that pressure for like an hour, but you get out and you're looking, it's actually only been 10 minutes. So time's a weird perceptual construct, but it seemed like forever to the point where I got fed up. There's no traffic coming. So I stood up, started making my way back to the sidewalk, the pavement, as we call it in England. And the moment I put my feet onto the pavement, I heard this whoosh, and I felt this massive backdraft, and I turned my head and I saw a massive articulated lorry just flown past, which a matter of a couple of seconds different, and I wouldn't be here.
Right.
And in that moment, I don't mind saying I shit myself.
Like literally, not figuratively, literally, you shit yourself.
On all levels, literally. I fucking, yeah, I probably did. I don't remember that big, but I'm going to say on all levels, I shit myself, which is part of the reason, I'll come back to this later, that my book's called Shitnosis, helping you get over the shit in your life and get your shit together. But
oh my God,
there's more. There's a bit more to it than that. It was also a massive wake-up call, what we call a pattern interrupting hypnosis. And I suddenly thought, whoa. I feel so relieved that it didn't happen. But there must be a way to overcome the pain and the trauma of being the odd one out and not fitting in and feeling worthless and all this. And so I found myself the next week in the library, and although I wasn't old enough to take books out of the adult library section, my mum had arranged it so that I could, because I was doing a magic act by that point, because I, around the age of 9, 10, said to my dad, no, I'm not being Flap the Clown anymore, because in my head it was being Flap the Clown that caused the bullying. Well, it was to a degree, but it was also I came from the circus. So, all right, I got rid of the big red nose and the wig and became Alex Leroy the magician. But when I was still in the media, people were still pointing at me and giving me grief. I was still from a circus family, and then I was getting victimized for being Mr. Magic or make yourself disappear and all this kind of stuff. So,
right.
But the books in the kids' magic.
That leads me to a question, John. That leads me to a question. When did the? I mean, you seem to have already been into, you know, the magic and the performing, being that you had no choice. Basically, it was your life. When did hypnosis start to come into play, and did that help with this negative kind of persona that has been placed upon you by these, as you say, paper cuts, 1,000 paper cuts of people saying things and people saying things. You know, for me personally, my breakdown happened at like 30 years old. I spent an exuberant amount of time in my life trying to be famous. Didn't care which way, whether it was a singer or an actor or a magician. I just wanted fame, right? I just wanted please like me. Please like me. Like, full on. And at 30, is when everything went really well for me, but it was also the biggest breakdown. It was the moment when I lost my direction, where I used to love to perform magic because it was performing magic. It was performing mentalism. It was making people go, wow, and that's so cool. And I somewhere along the way, it turned into a job. And then I was just like, that's the last thing I ever wanted this thing to be, was work. I never wanted this to be work. This was supposed to be a gift that I'm doing, that I'm giving away on some level. I almost want to, give it away for free. And that clicks this next moment for me. That's something that you said in the video prior. And I'm not sure if it's the exact same thing that I'm about to say, but the moment that somebody, when you say sleep and they do this moment, they go, is to me one of the most amazing moments I see every time I see it. It's this kind of like overwhelming, I can't believe they're allowing me to have this much space, if that makes sense. Because I know that we're not in control, quote unquote. We're not Svengalis that are controlling somebody to do certain thing under the idea of hypnosis. Instead,
we'll
go ahead.
Agree, disagree on that. I think if you do it right, the vast majority of people in the hypnosis industry, whether it's stage or therapeutic, walk around telling people that you cannot make people say or do things that contradict their morals or the values. And that's complete and utter bullshit. I have, during the course of my career, under test conditions, made people reveal their banking PIN codes. And I don't mean mentalism wise. I mean, to the point where I've stolen money off them, albeit it was with a television company filming. And I'm not on about dual reality stuff. Some people will know what we're on about. Someone, I mean, genuinely doing it so that they don't remember. They have total amnesia. I have broken into people's computers, getting their passwords off them. Magicalguru.co.uk, on there's links to past TV shows. I have worked on shows where we've actually ended up basically causing people to assassinate somebody, or think they have, genuinely think they have. And if it wasn't for the fact that, unbeknownst to the person that was brainwashed into doing it, that fortunately for them, we weren't doing something nefarious, they would have.
Well, yeah, but hold on, Jonathan, if I may, because, and I could be wrong here. I've studied hypnosis, I think, just as long as you have, and I could be totally wrong here. Now, first of all, was the TV show that you're talking about the one with Darren Brown, where he does the assassination upon? Was that the show that you were involved in? Or
that's one of many. I mean, Darren used a bucket of ice thing from my No Such Thing as Hypnosis training videos. And then that was modeled by Tom Silver in America. They did one, basically the same thing, just done ever so slightly.
Yeah, but no, my point here is that a lot of the people that are involved in this, it's usually a long period of time. Are you saying in that the skill level represents that somebody could do what you're saying to somebody in a very short amount of time, dependent upon that skill level, or dependent upon how well they are adept at hypnotizing somebody?
If you are nefariously minded enough, have a total disregard for the law, a total disregard for ethics, and have enough financial money to invest in that moment to achieve your intention, okay, then without any stages, without any dual reality, without any multiple realities, yes, you can create a situation where a random member of the public, without any none of them applying to take part in something, which makes them naturally more prone. I mean, without them knowing what the fuck's going on, you can fuck over them psychologically so that they have no idea what's going on, and they have no idea it went on, or that they did it once they've done it in next to no time. Yes, you can. And I actually teach people how to do that in my training courses, because Delavar,
and there you go.
taught me how to do this. And the fact is, all these people walking around saying it can't be done, either A, haven't got a fucking clue what they're talking about, and are incompetent, or B, and this is a larger percentage, so if you got offended by the first one, people viewing and listening in hypnosis, then you can always slot yourself comfortably in this category of you sincerely and genuinely just took on board and believed what you were taught by the people who taught you, who told you that you couldn't make people say or do things against the morals and values. The people who told you it was impossible to hypnotize people and manipulate them and brainwash them into doing things without them knowing and without them remembering. The people that told you that things like MK Ultra mind control had no connection or relevance whatsoever to hypnotherapy or stage hypnosis. You spent out thousands of pounds to do your training course to get your worthless, highly valuable piece of paper qualification. But the thing is, your training was only ever as good as the person who taught you.
Trained you, sure.
And that was only as good as the person who taught them. And there's far too many myths and bullshit perpetrated. I would say a good 95% or more of people teaching hypnotherapy and stage hypnosis or anything to do with hypnosis haven't got a fucking clue what they're on about, however successful they may perceptively appear, just because they're headline.
I have some people I have to ask you about then. Let's break down your thoughts on people that are out there.
You know me, I will name and shame.
Hypnosis Motivational Institute.
HMI, not bad, but they don't tell you the real truth. They don't tell you. I teach more in the first 12 hours of my elite hypnotherapy and NLP hypnosis bootcamp at ultimatehypnosiscourse.com. There's a real use in the real world than HMI do if you'd studied every single course they've ever released. And I offer a full money-back guarantee, a 1 year, 100% satisfaction money-back guarantee, that what I teach in the first 12 hours of video alone inside my bootcamp at ultimatehypnosiscourse.com wipes the floor with anything anyone else on the planet teaches.
Okay, I got one more. I got another because I love this person in particular. He's been a very good close friend of mine. He's a teacher here in the United States. I'm not going to mention his name. Maybe you know who I'm talking about? Or no?
You haven't. There's shed loads of teachers in America.
Yeah, but he's pretty well known. He teaches comedy hypnosis, and he teaches a course on it. Alan Sands.
Alan, I've interviewed Alan on my Hypnosis Week podcast. If people go on YouTube and search out my Celebrity Hypnotist YouTube channel and click on playlists, they'll find one called Hypnosis Week. And I interviewed Alan for my podcast, and it was a cracking podcast. And,
I love Alan. Alan's a really, really, like that's what I'm saying. There's some people out there that are actually the real deal, and I feel like he's one of them.
He is one of them. I guarantee you, you'll learn more about stage hypnosis of use in the real world for far less money at ultimatehypnosiscourse.com than you will off even Alan.
Oh, wow.
Here's the thing. I genuinely, and this sounds egotistical, arrogant, and sounds like bullshit. But if this was bullshit, then people please send this video to the British Advertising Standards Authority and ask them to investigate. And ask them to investigate me.
He's going on
about the state. Because the thing is, when they investigate, they'll find that everything I'm saying is backable up with a thing called cast iron evidence. But you can check that cast iron evidence yourself at ultimatehypnosiscourse.com that proves I have taught more people who are currently working on 5-star cruise ships like the Royal Caribbean Lines and others, more people who are filling capacity theatre venues from 800 to 5,000 seats and above, more people who've got their own TV shows or regularly appearing on TV or performing for celebrities and high-class corporate events as a stage hypnotist than any other living, keyword there, than any other living, still alive trainer of stage hypnosis. Also, I have taught more people who are currently successful, and by successful I mean earning above average incomes, appearing on TV, on the radio, in newspapers, in magazines, got celebrity clients, earning thousands of pounds, dollars or euros, running group therapy sessions in the corporate arena with celebrity clients than any other living, again keyword, any other living hypnotherapy trainer on the planet. Guaranteed, and the proof and testimonials are all linked to at ultimatehypnosiscourse.com.
What do you think of this new?
Many of the so-called famous names in America and around the world, some of the biggest names that are out there right now, they won't admit the fact that I either originally taught them or that they were doing it and were taught by other people earlier, doing it and being reasonably successful. And then after they had mentoring from me and joined my Elite Hypnotherapy and NLP Hypnosis Bootcamp, ultimatehypnosiscourse.com below, that they then their careers took off. I have taught and got testimonials from television celebrity life coaches that do morning TV shows in England. I got them the break. I've got testimonials from television weight loss experts who appear on worldwide media, people like Steve Miller, of Fatnosis fame, who says my course is wipe the floor with everything else. I've taught the people at the top of the tree, or mentored them, or been an advisor.
So my question is, have you heard of this new mental? He's a hypnotherapist, actually, on Instagram. He's all over Instagram lately.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to, if you know anything about this kid, or if you've heard of him before, let me see if I can find him.
Yeah, please do. There's so many people popping up.
Now, it's a young kid. He's in LA, and he calls himself the millionaire hypnotist or something to this effect. And he's supposed to be this multi-millionaire, and he charges millions of dollars just to do, just to even hang out with him for just a short amount of time. And that's the whole thing.
Asking for proof.
What's that? Yeah, let's see the proof. Right.
Asking for proof. Everything I claim, I make it as easy as possible. I encourage people to check out the bullshit. There'll be people going, no, such and such has done X, Y, Z, and they're equally at the same level as you, Jonathan, or they're beyond you. Yeah, do some fucking digging. Do some checking. Get third party. If they say they've done hundreds of TV shows, go digging. I've done fucking hundreds of TV shows all around the world over the past over 3 decades. I first appeared on television as a hypnotist in January 1993 on a cult British television show called The Word. There's not been a year since when I've not appeared on TV shows somewhere around the world, often multiple places in the world. I've had my own fucking European television series. Provable. Go to magicalguru.co.uk. My career resume is there. The links are there to the television sites or the newspapers or the magazines or the celebrities endorsing me. Been here, worn out the t-shirt multiple times. Perceived success of a few people who've mastered social media to paint themselves as something they're actually not is sadly a trap way too many people are falling into.
Here's a great name for you. Do you know Chris Bolger?
Chris Bolger.
Bro, you need to look up. If you don't know Chris is a bad, and he's the real deal, bro. I know for a fact he is. He's absolutely amazing. He's Chris Bolger. He's on my friends list. If you look him up on he does a lot of. He's quiet about his work. He doesn't need to prove anything to anybody. He's one of those guys, like you, on some level. You don't need to prove who you are and what you've done. You've done it. He's the same kind of character.
I don't need to prove it, but I do for one key reason, because I detest people getting charged thousands and thousands of pounds, sometimes tens of thousands, because, like, I'll use NLP as an example. They make you do your practitioner course, then your master practitioner, then you've got to come and do the train the trainers, and then we'll send you out into the world and encourage you, like a multi-level marketing scam, to go and start teaching people so you can make money out of that. Do it teaching other people something that you've never fucking really achieved anything with in the real world. Bullshit. And then you get people out there that'll go, I'll teach you stage hypnosis and hypnotherapy, and all right, they've got some success in the world of stage hypnosis, but because of that, they're claiming they're teaching you stage and therapy. No. Bullshit. Fair enough, your success may entitle you to teach people stage hypnosis,
So-
but if you haven't got evidence here, and it can be the other way around. I've done the fucking law for over 3 decades consistently. I was helping football teams get into the Premier League, in other words, improve their game and get promoted up in the leagues here in England, back in the fucking 90s, provably. It's documented by the national media in black and white. Been there, done it. So there's very few people on this planet that impress me, and there's very few that actually... There's very few that you should listen to in terms of training. There's a handful of people. Tom Silver, I will name, a guy who's actually done stuff therapeutically and stage-wise, and has a position of strength to teach you both of them from.
Do you like Tom Silva?
Now, let's get this clear. Anyone I say beware of training-wise doesn't mean I don't like them as a human being. That's separate things. Tom Silver I love as a human being, but I also love him as a hypnosis trainer. In fact, when he came to England, Christ, I think it's nearly 20 years ago this year, 2004, I helped promote and sell tickets for his event, and I was there as a guest. So because I always investigate before I've done probably more other people's training courses than anyone on the planet, although quite often I do it under an assumed name. Or if I would be recognized, I'll send somebody else and pay for them to go on the course to secretly film it, so that then I can look at the stuff. So when I make a comment that upsets people, I do it from a position where I can back it up and prove that I actually experienced
I love it.
Tom Silver,
here's the question.
great, Mike
Hold on.
Mandel, but there's some people who are fucking beware.
All right, look, we have a Facebook user here, Samantha Anderson. She says, I want to know the science of hypnotism.
Okay, well, in which case, go to ultimatehypnosiscourse.com, join the Elite Hypnotherapy and NLP Hypnosis Bootcamp. It's currently on offer with 90% off. It's usually $4,997 United States dollars, which is about £4,000 sterling. But until the end of January, it's on offer for just £397 United Kingdom sterling, which ironically, it will show you how, when you get off your ass and put into action what's taught, you can earn that back with your very first client. We give you the business plans, you learn that back with your first client. And here's the thing, people go, it's too good to be true. Why would you give away a gravy train of information that teaches you how to earn $400 or $500 per therapy client? And the reason is, because if you made the fucking effort to get off your ass and you spent enough time doing it, you can get all of the information free from different sources, but it would take you hours, weeks, months, and years. All I'm doing is reducing your time down to actually being able to, within the space of, if you studied it, within the space of a few weeks, having a profitable business where you'll be more confident and competent as a hypnotherapist and or stage hypnotist than 90% of the people in the industry are, who weren't originally taught by me, that is, of course.
I would like to mention that, I want to say that really quickly, that there's a thing here, and it's happened in a lot of episodes on this podcast. And that comes down to, we live in a world where you have whatever information you want at your fingertips.
Somewhere. It is somewhere.
Right. So much, but what it comes down to is that you have the ability to find the information. If you want, you can find it. The fact that there's ever a post on Facebook that says, where is this from, when there's a photo, or any question like, when did Napoleon live? So why would you even ask a question like that when you have Google?
It's worse in the hypnosis industry. You see it in hypnosis group. Somebody will go, I've been doing it. I've been doing hypnotherapy. I imagine some kind of Anna out with a voice like, I've been doing hypnotherapy now for 2 years since I did my advanced course. And I've got a client coming tomorrow. It's the first time I dealt with somebody with obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD. And I was just wondering what I'm supposed to do to help treat them. Could you tell me, please? They're coming tomorrow. And you see shit like this all the time. And I see it and I think, you monumental fucking wanker fraud. And I mean that on 2 levels. A, the individual posing the question is something of a see you next Tuesday, because they shouldn't be taking on board a client they do not already feel confident and competent and skilled enough to deal with. But worse than that, whoever they did their training with, they should demand a refund from, because if they'd been taught properly, truthfully and honestly, then they would know how to treat anyone with anything to the best of their ability and feel confident and competent enough to do it, which I guarantee my students of ultimatehypnosiscourse.com will be when they put into action what's taught. Otherwise, their money back, that 1 year money back guarantee is fully explained at the link. Because I teach you exactly what hypnosis truly is, how it truly works. And when you're taught exactly what it truly is, how it truly works, and you fully understand that, which 99% of so-called hypnosis trainers don't teach because they don't fucking know themselves, because they're stuck in that trap of having been lied to, then you know how to use that tool in any arena for anything within the realms of what is possible.
Right.
Isn't it? So it's just pure laziness or stupidity most of the time, or the fact that these people have been ripped off with the training that they've done, because they shouldn't have these questions. They should know how to deal with everything if they were taught properly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
I'm talking about hypnotherapy there, but you know what? Fuck it, let's upset more people. It's World Hypnotism Day 2024. Let's fucking upset them more. And I'm really going to upset them on the start of January. I think it's the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of February, rather. It's the Performing Hypnosis Summit in Las Vegas, but I'll be joining via Zoom to give my presentation on the Saturday night. Saturday afternoon, 2 p.m. Las Vegas time, but that'll be 10 p.m. at night in England, where I'll be talking about the dangers of stage hypnosis, the very real fucking dangers that more stage hypnotists don't know because they weren't taught it by the people who taught them, or want to deny. And one of the biggest dangers...
So here's a good question for you. Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think we were talking about this before the show.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever been, quote unquote, hurt at a stage hypnosis show? And if so, how and what happened?
Shed loads of them. It happens all the time. Most of them you don't hear.
I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you the stage. You go crazy telling the story.
Right. Most of these you won't hear about for one key reason, because the insurance companies, rather than spending shed loads of money to defend their client's position in court and winning, which they could quite often, will or may arguably be able to do quite often, they will settle out of court because it works out cheaper for them. Sadly, that happens a lot of times. But you've only got to Google stage hypnosis dangers, or dangers of stage hypnosis, or stage hypnosis accident, or prosecution, or similar phrases. And it's happened all around the world. Year after year it happens. Most of these take the form of the stage hypnotist being negligent and not managing the people on stage correctly, so people fall off chairs or fall off stage and break their legs or injure themselves, or some other form of injury that could have been avoided by quite simply paying more fucking attention. And one of the ways you do that is you have less volunteers on stage. You use basic health and safety and duty of care, which means that you do not do as the vast majority of but it is mainly the American and some European hypnotists do it. In England, we tend to limit the number of people on stage to a maximum of 10 or 12. Yes, more people might come up at the start with their hands locked, but then we get rid of most of them, so that we just have 10 or a dozen chairs maximum. And there's a good reason, and I would say 10 actually should be a better limit. 12's pushing it. And the reason for that is because then you can be aware of those 10 people. If you've got 20, 30, 40 people on stage after you've done the induction, then you cannot pay attention to them at all times. You're being incompetent and unsafe. That's one element. The other element is potential psychological harm, which can be caused by not removing fully post-hypnotic suggestions. So, for example, when you hear this piece of music, you'll believe that you are Elvis Presley. They hear it. They dance like Elvis. The hypnotist doesn't remove it. Somebody's driving home and Elvis comes on the radio. They suddenly start dancing. Car crash, death. Sounds like that sounds science fiction, but it's fully possible if that individual believed in hypnosis enough.
So my question to you is, in the movie Office Space, I know that that's like the one that all the Americans will talk about, because in the movie, the man gets hypnotized and he's held under this hypnosis spell, if you will, for many days. His attitude changes.
Yeah, of course, it's fully possible. Yeah.
Okay.
If you go to youtube.com, search for my Celebrity Hypnotist YouTube channel, click on playlists. There's a playlist there called Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis. And in that playlist is my documentary, a feature documentary that is, you can watch it for free on YouTube, but it is exclusive as well as my YouTube channel too. David Icke, the conspiracy truth researchers, online truth platform, Iconic, his own television channel. It's on there, and that will go into how we are all brainwashed, manipulated, arguably hypnotized from all areas of our daily life on a daily basis, from cradle to the grave. How you can break free from that, but yes, how you can go beyond that and with nefarious intent control somebody for life. Yes, it can be done. There was a film in the past couple of years called Hypnotized or Tranced, or I do a review of it in that playlist on YouTube anyway, and I explain how it is all feasible. So there's physical dangers, the psychological dangers. There is also, it comes under psychological again, but it's not, an American hypnotist are most guilty of this, and that is hypnotizing people under the age of 18. For entertainment, for therapy in a controlled environment, different matter. But entertainment, here's the thing. Until you are, all right, we'll say maybe 16. I'm prepared to accept possibly 16. But in England, we have a thing called the 1952 Hypnotism Act that I believe should be a similar thing in place worldwide, which means that you would not legally be allowed to hypnotize anyone under the age of 18. On stage or on the street for entertainment purposes. And visually, you're seeing visual footage of my documentary, Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis, which is inside the playlist of that name on my Celebrity Hypnotist YouTube channel. It's a bit of a biographical life story about me, but it also feeds in showing you how it all works and how this stuff that most people say isn't possible is, and how you can protect yourself from it. But going back to comedy hypnosis shows, you know, the critical faculty, analytical area of the mind, or executive function does not fully form until around puberty, teenage years. But that is the generalized area that's accepted. For some, it's a little bit earlier. For some, it's older. So from a safety point of view, 16 would be the bare minimum that I would ever want the law altering to. It currently says 18, but 16, the bare minimum for people to take part in a comedy stage hypnosis show. And here's the thing, because even if they volunteered and the parents say it's okay, that doesn't make it safe. No. And even if you're doing things abiding by all health and safety and duty of care laws and best practices, that doesn't make it safe. And the reason is because they do not have a fully formed executive function. And as a child, although at the time they may react and look as though they're enjoying it, having their 5 minutes of fame, being the center of attention, getting the audience applause, there can come a point in the show, and you don't know what that is because you're not inside their head, where they feel that it's gone a bit too far. even if you're doing a squeaky clean family show, and that it starts to feel to them like they're being laughed at and not with. And it doesn't matter how hard you try to control that and how it appears to you and other people. It's about that person's own internal perception. So it can actually make them feel, walk away from that experience on the day feeling good, but at an unconscious, subconscious, deep-rooted level, it can have a negative impact on their self-confidence, self-esteem, self-image, self-control, which can have a knock-on effect on their self-worth, self-respect, self-love, positive selfishness, which can have a negative effect on their self-identity. In other words, it can plant the seeds to fuck them up for life on a psychological level that may not manifest itself till later in life because of that imbalance, but could manifest as a habit, addiction, fear, or phobia later. And no one, because of the way the bullshit's spelted, will ever go, do you know what? This could have all started because you were young and taking part in a stage hypnosis show. Yeah, I'm sitting here and telling you categorically that can be a contributory or sole cause. And I believe that any stage hypnotist anywhere in the world whoever knowingly or willingly hypnotizes on stage for entertainment anyone under the age of 16, although in England it will be illegal to do it with anyone under 18, I think he's incompetent, I think he's negligent, and I think particularly doesn't have a right lot of talent as a hypnotist, which means, yes, I'm upsetting all high school hypnotists in America who do lock-ins and stuff with kids under 16. Well, tough luck if you're upset. Perhaps you need to sort your heads out.
Yeah. So when you're talking about what you're talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, you're talking about the creation or the what I know is what's called the critical factor.
Some people call it the critical factor, analytical area. Psychologists tend to refer it more as the executive function.
Executive function, sure.
But that develops from birth up to teenage.
Right. So that you're saying that doesn't really get fully processed until the age of 16, 17, if not a little bit more.
It's developing from birth. Teenage years, it goes from a massive kind of boom, puberty. Experts agree and disagree. You will be able to find experts that say it's fully formed by the time you're 12. You'll find other experts that say it's only 80% there by the time you're into your 20s. The majority of people out there, if you look at things like Google Scholar and stuff, will say it's puberty to around 16 to 18.
Sure.
So from a purely, let's take the weight of evidence out there point of view, and also look at the fact there's a reason why it's not legal to hypnotize people for entertainment on stage under the age of 18 in England. And that reason is an American fucking hypnotist came to England. I have nothing against American people, but an American hypnotist called Ralph Slater came to England in 1949, 1950 doing hypnosis shows, and he did not remove the suggestions properly, and he left people feeling down, depressed and bad, and he went to court and he lost the court case. He was found negligent, and because of that, the British government tried to ban stage hypnosis. Fortunately, a British hypnotist of the time who was filling theatres called Peter Casson, who set up a thing called the Federation of Ethical Stage Hypnotists, fought and lobbied British Parliament, and he managed to get the 1952 Hypnotism Act instated rather than hypnosis being banned completely. And amongst that, at the time, was the rule that you could not hypnotize anyone under the age of 21, because that was the age of consent and when you turned an adult then. That has since changed to being you can't hypnotize people under the age of 18. And the real reason for it is what I spoke about, the impact it can have doing that. Whereas therapy is entirely different. And there's a whole bunch of other things in there that basically most American hypnotists don't fucking abide by, and most European hypnotists don't, because, well, if we don't have a law, we don't have to do it. Well, guess what? Actually, most of you are invalidating your public liability and professional indemnity insurance. And the reason you're invalidating it is this. There may be no laws saying that you cannot hypnotize people under 18 or under 16 for entertainment. But if ever anyone was to ever make a claim against you, whether any foundation in truth or just a fake one, doesn't matter. You'd have to call on your insurers, wouldn't you? And unfortunately, as I've already mentioned, some of them will just settle out of court because it works out cheaper for them to do that than defend it.
Sure.
But if they try to defend it, The other side could turn around and go, why is it, for example, in England, it says you've got to be a certain age before you're hypnotized? Do you think it's correct to hypnotize someone under the age of 18 or 16 when their executive function is not fully formed? Do you not think that there could be a negative long-term effect? And if they could get enough experts to speak for them, they could make a case that would convince a judge enough to decide that you had been negligent or incompetent. And if it was proven that you were negligent or incompetent, in the areas of health and safety and duty of care, where in most civilized areas of the world, not everywhere, but most civilized areas of the world, it is a standard legal obligation of any insurance policy that you will abide by all standard health and safety and duty of care laws. If it could be proved that you hadn't, then your insurance policy would be invalid and it would ruin you.
Right.
So there's that consideration. And you think, well, that was in 1950s. Well, guess what? In 1993, in England, a lady called Sharon Taban died 6 hours after attending and participating in a stage hypnosis show presented by somebody called Andrew Vincent. Now, there was a full investigation done, and the coroner finally concluded that hypnosis had nothing to do with it whatsoever, and that she choked on her own vomit, okay, in her sleep. However, there is evidence to show that if you suffer extreme stress or humiliation, if you receive that it can affect your sympathetic nervous system and push you into the fight, flight, freeze, shite, which produces more adrenaline and more other bodily chemicals, which can, if you've got an overproduction of them, can make you potentially more possible to not wake up, to start vomiting in your sleep, for example.
No way.
Now, the coroner did not make any connection to hypnosis. In fact, he said he fully investigated it, okay, and said that he ruled it out completely. And from the stuff I've seen, as I mentioned on my, if you go on magicalguru.com and click on the bit that says television and radio, television and media hypnotist, there are TV shows from 1994 when I'm defending stage hypnosis and trying to stop it being banned, because the lady's mother, Margaret Harper, set up CASH, the campaign against stage hypnotists, and was lobbying Parliament to ban stage hypnosis. Fortunately, the coroner found there was no link to hypnosis whatsoever in her case. However, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that taking part in a stage hypnosis show can cause you to feel humiliated on some level, however clean the show was, because it's about the individual's perception, that it could cause an overproduction of adrenaline or cortisol or other things that could make them more predisposed to being less likely to wake up if something like that happened. There are dangers that most stage hypnotists don't have a fucking clue about because they were never taught. The same with hypnotherapists. So what did I do? And this is one of the reasons I am hated by so many people in this industry. It's called call out the bullshitters. And about 10 years ago now,
I personally think it's kind of cool, man.
It's cool if not me.
Jonathan, 2024 is the year where all the lies are going to come out. And I think that it's going to happen because of artificial intelligence. And I don't mean that in like some kind of simple haha way. I mean, I think this year, the people who have been trying to hide things for so long, all of that is going to get brute forced and opened up. There's been something that's been in the industry for a long time that a lot of people don't know about since 2001, which is called DLDC. Oh no, DLDL. Download now, decrypt later. And so what a lot of the major companies, AVS, all of the Googles, all of the people that have cloud services, they are all their promise to you is that you cannot break through their stuff, that they're completely safe. And we've seen it already. Hackers and hacker groups can easily break into almost any system they want to, but they do have
if it's man-made, it can be man-broken.
Right. And now what you have is this large language model that's using what's called transformers. If anybody understands the system, if they don't, go look it up. But large language models have been around since the 70s. But large language models that use what's called transformers have only been used since 2007, around that time. And AWS took on a big portion of that. Now, NVIDIA is also another company for the last 20 years have been going crazy with AI and specifically transformers, which is how we now have ChatGPT 4 and what's about to come out in a moment, which is ChatGPT 4.5, which is going to be a hands-free bot that you can ask to basically do almost anything for you. So what I'm thinking and what I'm seeing is the future, being that now we're also doing quantum computers. Those are becoming something that you can buy and put in front of your hospital. There's a hospital in the United States that now has a quantum computer as you walk in, and they're using it to find answers to cancer and to all these different things. Brute forcing the answer is basically the answer. So I think that all these things that were hidden away, JFK, aliens, this, that, and the other, Epstein, the islands, kids, drugs, all of it is going to come out to the open. It's this year. I'm telling you, it's this year. And it's
definitely going to start this year, and I know this for a fact. And that sounds a big statement. So pull me back on that in a minute. What's my proof? I just want to say for viewers and listeners, to answer the question that was posed earlier, yes, when I survived the suicide attempt, I went to the library where I got magic books from, and on the shelf next to the magic books, I've discovered the self-help and popular psychology section, and I saw a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And I thought, well, if I read that and put it into practice, people will become my friend and not bully me. It didn't work. It made things worse, in fact, because those techniques might be great for adults, but not for a kid trying to use them on other kids. But then I did find a book by Emil Coué called The Power of Autosuggestion, and that started me on the path to learning hypnotherapy. And I used those techniques to give myself more self-esteem, more self-confidence. And eventually I learned to use the law of reversed effort, what resist, persist, or as I call it the Yoda effect, do or do not, there is no try. Where one day the bully who pinned me against the wall at high school every day and used to give me verbal nonsense and then hit me, one day he came up, and as he came towards me, I went, what the fuck are you waiting for? Why don't you just hit me now? And just as his hand connected, he kind of let go, and I just went, come on, hit me now rather than all your usual bullshit. And this was a pattern interrupt, but also said, go on, try and hit me now. Law of reversed effort, try, implying he won't be able to. And he got a sort of sensory overload, and then suddenly turned, said to his hangers on, follow me, guys, turned to me and said, you're a fucking nutter, you. Stay away from me. He never came near me since. And that's when I learned how powerful words, suggestion can be. So yes, that path did lead me into hypnosis. I then realized it could be used to help people. So I used it to help myself. And in 1989, aged 14, I became the youngest ever member of the association, well, what is now the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Psychotherapists. All the details at magicalguru.co.uk or ultimatehypnosiscourse.com to back this up, because I know it sounds a bit bizarre. And because I'd come from a performing background, I saw the potential of using hypnosis on stage, and I started doing that at the age of 15 in 1990. In fact, that video footage at the beginning where I'm getting people to strip off on stage while I'm in a blue suit, that was when I was about 15 and a half. So yeah, it did lead me down those paths. Coming back to what evidence have I got of now? Well, if people check out my other website, circusofthemind.net, that's circusofthemind.net, I go into my story with facts, court documents galore. So this isn't me claiming things. This is backed up with documents from the police, from the Crown Prosecution Service, from the High Courts, Royal Courts of Justice in England, of how back in 1998 I set out to expose the illegal and dishonest actions of the mainstream media.
Wow, John, you're a badass, bro.
And unfortunately, how they were 10 steps ahead of me, I didn't know at the time, but they knew that I knew who they were, because they were, it turned out, I've only found this out in the past few years, they were hacking my phone, wrong website, circusofthemind.net for this. They were hacking my phone. Yeah, they were hacking my mobile phone. They were using unlawful information gathering and private detectives. So they actually knew what my intention was of exposing their dodgy tactics. And because of that, they were able to be 10 steps ahead, frame me, fabricate false evidence, lie about me, including to the police, and ultimately ended up with me serving time in prison. And I've been fighting to get justice ever since. And
Shut up, Jonathan. I didn't know this.
September the 30th, September the 30th, 2022, I filed a case in the High Court of England, Alex Smith, my birth name, versus News Group newspapers owned by Rupert Murdoch, within which I make the assertions that their fake Sheikh Mazher Mahmood drugged my drinks without my knowledge to make me more easily manipulable, that he hacked my phone, used unlawful information gathering, lied about me, fabricated evidence, and basically lied to the courts and created a malicious prosecution. And that goes to trial in January 2025, where I will be going to trial alongside the Duke of Sussex, yes, Prince Harry, and British pop star Talisa Kontostavlos, two other people who were victims of Rupert Murdoch's fake Sheikh Mazher Mahmood. Unless, of course, they make us an offer we can't refuse out of court before then, like they've done with everybody else to stop these matters becoming public. But you can hear the stranger than fiction story and see the evidence at circusofthemind.net. So from the inside, I have seen the documented evidence that the media have a large amount of the media worldwide have a disregard for truth, honesty, facts, and legalities. And in fact, it's a case of if it bleeds, it leads. If it's sensational and will make them money and manipulate the mass populace, then truth, reality, and honesty don't seem to come into it.
Sure, of course. No, I mean, that's what they do.
So I know. I'm sorry, I'll just say that Prince Harry.
Sorry, did you watch the documentary called Century of Self? The one that's about Edward Bernays?
No, I didn't watch that documentary. Edward Bernays, the author of Propaganda, who was an advisor to the governments and linked in with the likes of MK Ultra, because here's the thing, MK Ultra, Mind Control Ultra, started with the CIA in America, but it also ran in conjunction with the Tavistock Hospital in England. Okay, the Tavistock Hospital in England later morphed into the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations, which looks all very innocent on their website, like it's just a public relations or how to psychologically influence people thing. Much deeper. It's an arm of the government almost, and it shares the same office on a back street of London as the British Psychological Society. Same offices, how weird, as the people who are involved with the likes of DSM-5, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Illness and Disease, that's voted on by a committee because most of it's just a label to make money selling drugs because they're creating customers, not cures. I cover all this in my documentary, Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis, by the way, on the Celebrity Hypnotist YouTube channel in the playlist of that name. So, yeah, I know about Edward Bernays. He was one of the people, well, you know, he said, repeat a lie often enough, people will end up believing it's the truth. It's what politicians do. It's what governments do.
Yeah, it reminds me of Prince, The Prince by Machiavelli. It's the same kind of idea.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier, it was funny that you mentioned it because it was one of the first books that hit me as well, which is How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I love how you said it didn't work for you.
It should. Well, it's good if you use it with common sense in the right context as an adult. But for example, it says a person's name is to them the most beautiful word on the planet. Use it often. I tell you now, as a complete stranger, certainly in England, if you go into a bar, someone you've just met, and use their name every other fucking sentence, you're more likely to get a punch in the face than you are to get anywhere else.
Hey, John, it's so nice to have you on my show. John, I just wanted to let you know.
Shut
I'm
the fuck
so
up!
happy that
It becomes obvious. It's like people who've just done an NLP course have been taught about submodalities that some people say, how do things look? Because they're visual, or that sounds good because they're auditory. And they start doing it all the time. They just look like wankers because it's completely unnatural. The principle's true.
What about,
you have to learn how to use it naturally.
what do you think of oh my God, I can't believe it. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. What do you think of that whole?
Okay, well, there's 5 main books, okay? There's Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. There's the Science of Getting Rich by William Wattles. There's The Greatest Secret by Earl Nightingale. There's The Lazy Man's Way to Riches by Joe Carbo. All of these essentially say the same thing in different ways, and all of them are essentially based on a book called The Master Key by Charles Hannay, which came before them all.
Yep.
And in a nutshell, the simplistic version is that what the mind of man can perceive and believe, it can achieve. That you get more of what you focus on in life. But the reason why thinking, I don't want to be poor, I don't want to be poor, I want to be rich, ends up meaning that you don't get rich, is because there's too much focus on the possibility you could remain poor.
Poor.
People take it too literally. It's like why The Secret sold millions of copies, but those people haven't become millionaires. You've actually got to be, and it's got to be something that the mind can believe. The critical faculty doesn't go, that's not true. So it's no good saying to yourself every day, I am a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, because your mind knows that's bullshit, won't believe it, it's not going to help. If we go back to Emile Coué, who kind of got it right in his books on auto-suggestion, he had a great phrase, day by day in every way, I'm getting better and better. Well, if you say that to yourself at least 21 times, like he suggested, morning, noon, and night, repetition, let's break it down. What can be resisted against? I am getting better day by day in every way, I'm getting better and better. Well, even if you just, on that day, notice one teeny tiny little thing that was better than yesterday, that's proof that you are getting better and better. It's not saying overnight you're a millionaire. So in the same way, altering it if you want to move towards riches and wealth and stuff and away from a poverty consciousness, you start saying to yourself, day by day, in every possible way, I start to become and continue to grow towards wealth, happiness, and prosperity.
Boom.
Well, finding one cent on the floor is an increase. Anything positive in life can then be accepted by your unconscious, subconscious mind. It's positive reinforcement, meaning it will grow the positive suggestion further. It's about how things are structured. And most of these courses, the truth is there, but they don't give it you all, because if they did,
Right, of course not. Yeah.
you wouldn't go and buy book number 2, would you? Or you wouldn't then book on their live training course. And that's where I'm different. When you go to ultimatehypnosiscourse.com, there is no upsell. Once you become a lifetime member of my elite hypnotherapy and NLP hypnosis, my magic and mentalism bootcamp, because it doesn't just cover all the stage hypnosis, street hypnotism stuff. It also covers all the hypnotherapy, NLP, mind therapy stuff. But it also covers all the Darren Brown mind control, mentalism, and magic stuff. It covers fortune telling, code reading. It covers complementary alternative medicine, holistic health. And more importantly, perhaps, it covers all the marketing, advertising, publicity, and promotion to actually make a profitable business from it. Then you are a lifetime member. There is never any upsell. Anything new I ever release or create of my own copyright, or anything that I purchase the rights to, which I regularly do off other people, gets added to the members area at no extra charge to you for life.
Wow.
That is why when I say that to buy everything individually that's in the members area from my different websites, It will cost over £15,000 to buy everything separately, okay? And even then, you wouldn't have access to it all because there's stuff in the members area at ultimatehypnosiscourse.com that you can't get anywhere else.
Right.
So say that £397 United Kingdom sterling. Now is the time
And right now,
to grab it
right now,
with both hands.
And Jonathan, right now you have that for sale on your website. You're doing like 99% off.
UltimateHypnosisCourse.com right now for just a single one-time only payment, nothing else to ever pay, no upsells, because anything new gets added. You'll learn that about with a single therapy client or one extra stage hypnosis show. And you know why I'm doing it? I'm doing it because I don't like people getting ripped off. Anyone who's spent thousands or tens of thousands on training and then end up finding themselves asking questions on news groups of how do I treat this kind of client, or what do I do for this type of hypnosis audience, or how do I get more bookings? Well, if your course didn't give you the tools, resources and templates and the training so that you felt confident and competent enough to do it all without having to ask for further advice, then you should ask for a fucking refund off the person you train with.
I agree.
That's why I offer.
Totally
That's why I offer the 1 year
agree.
guarantee that nobody else dare offer.
And here's the website right here, ultimatehypnosiscourse.com, for anybody who wants to check it out. All the information is there.
The testimonials, people, television celebrity life coaches, television weight loss experts, famous name media hypnotists saying that my training, and it's not just me, there's training from 18 other world-class experts in their field inside the members area as well. Because I am not a social media marketing expert. I'm not. But I know people who are, and I've licensed training from them to give you in the members area, for example.
Wow. All right. So look, Jonathan, we've been on for about an hour and 20 minutes. If you wouldn't mind, you've already done this a lot, but we're going to go ahead and do it anyways. Give some people some information on how to find you. I think this is one of them right here.
Okay, one thing that we didn't finish on was dangers of stage hypnosis. I'm going to cover it in depth at the Performing Hypnosis Summit, 2nd, 3rd and 4th of February. PerformingHypnosisSummit.com is the website. There's not just me, there's other world-class speakers, people like the legends such as Terry Stokes, for example. But I'll be covering the stuff other people daren't talk about, basically. And in a package I have out that no one else offers anything remotely close, I offer the world's most comprehensive safety for stage hypnosis and street hypnosis and entertainment hypnosis package called the Transparency Template. Now, the Transparency Template on its own retails for $177 or something like that, about 150 quid sterling, but it's inside the Elite Hypnotherapy and NLP Hypnosis Bootcamp members area. So when you join UltimateHypnosisCourse.com today, you will get the transparency template in there, thus meaning then you can study the stuff and be the safest, confident and competent stage hypnotist, street hypnotist or entertainment hypnotist you could ever possibly become. And also hypnotherapy-wise, I have the widest training in duty of care and health and safety of anyone out there. And again, that's all included in the bootcamp members area. That's at ultimatehypnosiscourse.com, the link you see on screen. If you want to learn about the truth behind the madness of my life to try and expose the media, go to circusofthemind.net, and you can see all the court documents there and the truth behind the lies and rumors that my jealous competitors and vicious backstabbing cunts on the internet posed. The real truth's there. If you want to just improve your life for the better, yes, you can get an ebook copy of this in all my books, and I've got over 50 of them in the name Jonathan Royle on sale on Amazon. But all of them are in digital format in the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp, of course. But if you prefer to hold a real book, for literally 17 bucks, 17 United States dollars, £15 sterling, Shitnosis, helping you get over the shit in your life and get your shit together, incorporating the fuck that system, fully unconscious conditioning, knowledge therapy, honoring absolute transformation. I promise you, is the ultimate self-help book because of these things, QR codes that also give you virtual online treatment sessions. And that's pretty much it. My career resume and the evidence that you can go in third party yourself, go to my career resume, Magical Guru, magicalguru.co.uk. Look at the outrageous claims that I make on there about having taught more people who are currently successful working stage hypnotists, filling 5-star theatres, 5-star cruise ships, and, you know, appearing in the media and having their own TV stuff, and see the ridiculous claims that I've taught television life coaches, television hypnotists, media hypnotists, and indeed more people who are currently successful, high-earning therapists in the world today than any other living trainer, and then follow the links I give you and try and disprove it. Because I'll provide you the proof, you try and disprove it. I'll tell you now, you'll waste hours and hours of your time to come to the conclusion, oh shit, why did I ever listen to the lies about the British bad boy of hypnosis, Jonathan Royle? The truth of the matter is, for over 3 decades, since 1989, he's been at the top of the hypnotherapy industry. And since 1990, he's been at the top of the stage hypnosis industry. And now his students are the people who are at the top of the industry around the world. Yeah, there's a handful of people who've been at it who had nothing to do with me. You know, I didn't teach Tom Silver and I didn't influence Tom Silver. No, I didn't.
No.
I'd like to think that, you know, maybe along the way he took some of my wisdom when we've talked. But no, I didn't. I don't claim to have taught him anything or to have influenced him. No, I don't. So there's a few people out there, but the bigger scale of things, the evidence all at that link, ultimatehypnosiscourse.com. Try and prove me wrong. I'll find it quite amusing because you'll waste hours of your life to come to the conclusion that fucking hell, I wish I'd gone to ultimatehypnosiscourse.com earlier, and I wish I'd done it before the deadline when the price went back up to $5,000. But even then, it'd be the best value for money investment you ever make. It's just that when you do it now, you'll get it for less than £400 sterling, less than $500 to learn more in the first 12 hours of video than you did from any training you've ever done before, guaranteed, or your money back. Yes, I'm an arrogant, egotistical sod, but I can back it up with proof.
There's no one who can beat it. You can't beat it. It's just, it is what it is. It's truth. You know, people. You know, Jonathan, man, I'm super thankful that you came on today, and you.
It's been fun. Sorry, I've gone off on a few occasions.
No, bro, do you, buddy? Do you? I'm totally cool with it. I'm super stoked that you came on. I'm super stoked that you got to get to let the truth be known, my friend. Let the truth be known. You know what I mean? And so there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people have an issue.
There, but there's a lot of people who won't bother going and looking at the links. There's a lot of people, rather than having to accept that they believe lies and vindictive rumors and bullshit or fabricated nonsense in various world media that's been printed over the decades about me. For example, I make it very clear right here, right now. The lady that I apparently woke up thinking she'd just been raped. It's a lot worse than it sounds. It's the old routine of waking somebody up and thinking that the person they were once in love with has now become a horrible, smelly pervert. And you wake them up and they suddenly go, "Who's this thing? Get me away from them," okay? You use that wording, nobody bats an eyelid. You wake the person up and go, you're no longer in love with them. You now think you've just been raped by them, which is the same thing as saying they're a horrible, smelly pervert, because it's implying that they've been interfered with, but it's stronger emotive language. People kick up a stink, and yet visually, it's no frigging different. However, just for the record, because if you're not careful about the phrasing of suggestions properly, some people, even if you say it's just you're acting it as if you're not emotionally feeling it, could do. I would never actually do that on a genuine volunteer. The one and only time I used that routine when I knew a television company was filming it, okay, I used a paid actress stooge. She wasn't even hypnotized.
Oh, wow. Right.
Purely for safety, because as Uri Geller said in that original footage, my intention was just to get publicity. And that immediately skyrocketed me to be one of the highest earning, well, certainly in the top 3 highest earning hypnotists in England back in 1994 when it all kicked off.
Wow.
Don't believe everything you read in the papers. In 1994, the British newspaper The Sun claimed they had published a direct quote from a female who claimed, the way they wrote it up, that I'd hypnotized her without her consent and then made her think I was her favourite film star to get her into bed. No. That would be rape, okay?
100%. 100%.
What happened was a female who consented to be hypnotized in full knowledge and upon her request wanting me to make her believe I was her favourite film star, and challenged me that if that would work, then she would want to sleep with the favourite film star, even though she currently knew consciously it would be me.
Yeah,
And that she had the best sex of her life, is what she said. And that is what she told the newspaper, right? But the way they wrote it up, they lied and distorted it to try and make it look like it was non-consensual. Okay? That is part of my case filed in September 2022 against Newsgroup newspapers. The fact that they lied. That is not what she said. She never accused me of that. In fact, she couldn't have been more delighted that she got to have the experience she did with Richard Gere. And the tape recordings that
drop the Richard Gere. You had to drop the Richard Gere.
if they still have the audio tapes, which they should have, and we've gone for court disclosure, if we get those audio tapes, which I've no longer got, sadly, but if we get them, which we should, they will show that she did not say what the paper published.
Wow.
But when that appeared, it got used against me by other people in the industry. I can understand to a degree. And I had no choice, because I did not at the time have hundreds of thousands of pounds to sue a big media conglomerate. The way the law is now, years on, things have changed decades on. And also evidence was brought to me in the past 2 or 3 years of illegal activity, such as me being drugged without my knowledge, and my phone being hacked and whatnot, which meant that I was able to get a kind of no win, no fee type of thing that wouldn't have been available in 1994. Thus meaning I can finally seek the justice. So back then in the 90s, I was branded as this evil guy when she never said that. And that left me with 2 choices: either go completely out of business because suddenly no one wanted to book me for a clean family show, which I was doing as well, or I had to embrace this apparent Mr. Outrageous and try and make it work for me, which I did. But the truth is, many of the things I get accused of having done, I never actually did.
Wow. Craziness.
Yeah. And the irony of it is, people in show business.
It comes down to you poking the bear on some level, no? You created this thing where you were going against the system, going against the big corporate conglomerates, and they did the fucking what's it called? The Alex Jones or the Andrew Tate or whatever.
They managed to discredit me and shut me up by getting the situation such that it landed me in prison for a short while. But the point is that several decades on, 26 years, come April the 12th, 2024, will be 26 years to the day that the News of the World published an article claiming that I was a drug smuggling, counterfeit money supplying, Uzi gun salesman pimp. In other words, some kind of underworld criminal overlord. And there was no truth in that story whatsoever. In fact, as circusofthemind.net shows, I actually had lawful excuse, arguably, for doing everything that I did end up doing, which is not even a fraction of what I've just mentioned. Most of what they said was complete, outright, fabricated lies. And that is why it's a massive miscarriage of justice, not just me, but dozens and dozens of other people that he lied about. And we are fighting for justice. And I've got an ongoing civil case for all courts of justice, as I say, all there. And when that's concluded, I'll then be going back to the Criminal Cases Review Commission to get referred back to the Court of Appeal to get my convictions overturned finally after decades. Jeez. It's stranger than fiction, my life, but it's true, and it's backed up with the court documents.
But it's great. It's great that you have all the info and the stuff, and you know that listen, what it comes down to in the end, it doesn't matter what any court of man says. What matters is what happens in your heart and your soul and what you know is true, John. And nothing else really fucking matters. Whatever happens on this planet is absolute BS at the end of the game. So the fact that you're still doing what you're doing, the fact that you're still teaching, the fact that you're still pushing and going and performing, that's all I got to say. All I gotta say.
And
Listen, John.
special. Every viewer, every listener, all of you are capable of the most amazing things. You truly are. Sometimes you can look around on social media and it looks like other people have got perfect lives, like the grass is greener over there. They're just posting the best version of themselves they possibly can. I have things that go wrong. I fuck up as well. But obviously that's not good for marketing. Well, in some context it would be. And indeed in my book, Hypnosis, helping you get over the shit in your life and get your shit together, it is relevant because I talk about times when I was at my lowest of lows, when I was suicidal, when I was dealing with shit and how I overcame it so I can lead by example to help you.
I love you. I love you, John. I love you, John.
Get there,
I love you, John.
Thank you.
I mean, and that's what this podcast is all about. And it's been about, it's really cool, man. I love the amount of people that I've met in my life and the people that I've connected to in my life, because it just goes to show every episode is the same thing. Somebody dealing with the shitnosis in their life, in their way, and how they came out of it in some way, shape, or form, or how they're still struggling, or how they're still pushing, or whatever. But the point is, don't give up. Keep going forward. Keep pushing forward. Something will hit the wall and stick. It just takes a matter of time. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. And with that, my friend Jonathan, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm going to go ahead and let you go.
Thank you so much for having me.
Dude, absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. And we'll see you soon, my friend.
Oh, one final word. Guys and girls, you've got to check out this opportunity that our mutual friend has got available. Let me just say in a nutshell. Now, he's told me about it before we started doing this. It's not timeshare. It is not timeshare. Okay? So it's not timeshare. If you've heard of like booking.com, where hotels, they need to book up their hotel because there's empty rooms. So they've let a company, a third-party company, have them cheap, like booking.com. So you can get ridiculous discounts. Well, it's like that, but with holiday resorts. But also you can get other discounts as well. The point is, it's not timeshare. It's like booking.com. Look into it. I'll leave you with that thought. Thank you, everybody.
You just did the sale for me.
Well, you can do it again. Repetition works.
Does it ever? And you proved that today, my friend, 100%. This is what he's talking about, by the way. It is my affiliate sponsor for, you can get 5 days, 5 nights in Cancun, only for $296. Out of that, $100 goes to a concierge service who's 24-hour support, which is me. I give it to you through my website, Experience-Cancun. The other $196 gives you 18 months to go on the 5 day, 5 nights. All you have to do at that point is pay for the resort fees and the taxes. Everything else is taken care of. Well, obviously, you have to pay for your airfare to get there and your transportation. But whatever. The hotel's paid for, folks. And with that, I will stop sharing. I will say thank you again to you, my friend. Thank you for that ad. I love you. We'll see you soon, man. We'll see you soon.
Take care, my friend. Goodbye, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye. Oh my God. Dude, I love this show. I absolutely, really, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I absolutely love doing this thing called On the Road in the Waves and on the Other Side. I do. I get to hang out with cool people. I get to learn amazing awesomeness about their life and who they are. Things I didn't even know about Jonathan, I found out today, which is, I've been following the kid for years. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying. Thank you for hanging out. For those of you who came and watched the show today. If by chance you wanted to do your own stream, but you don't know how, it's easy. Use StreamYard. There's a link in the description down below. You use it. I use it. We get paid. Same thing. If you buy into the $296 thing, I get paid. You get paid. We all get paid. Everybody's happy. And with that, my friends, the end of the show goes like this. My friends, please, if you would not mind, go into the world and do something nice for somebody else. And if you can't do something nice for yourself, it does start with you. Number 2, don't get caught up in all the crazy stuff, because then you end up poopy and it's not good for you or me. And number 3, if you would not mind, from the bottom of my heart, please like, share, subscribe, send this out to somebody who'd like to see it. And with that, my friends, I love you all so very much, and I will see you all on the other side.